Greatness doesn't always announce itself.
But one thing that I'm not is that I'm not a coward. This I swear. If I say I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do. I'm not a coward.
Sometimes it arrives quietly.
For well over a decade, George St-Pierre exemplified excellence both in and out of the Octagon. And those three letters, GSP, have become synonymous with another acronym that is popular in sports, GOAT.
For nearly a decade, George St-Pierre sat on the throne of the UFC's most brutal division. No theatrics, no chaos, just dominance. In an era obsessed with trash talk and spectacle.
Oh, whoa. What you gonna do? Oh, whoa. You gonna do something over there? Be careful. Shut your f***ing mouth.
GSP did something radical. He let excellence speak. He made preparation louder than personality, and in doing so, he became the standard. Welterweight king, two-division champion, Hall of Famer.
Greatest UFC fighter to ever live.
He is the greatest welterweight of all time.
George St-Pierre wasn't born into comfort. He was born into pressure. Raised in a small farming town in Quebec, his childhood wasn't defined by dreams of championships. It was defined by fear.
This guy, when I was young, he was beating me up in the bus all the time. He was ridiculizing me. I had like Adidas pants that you can tight like this. He was like taking off. So I was like an underwear in front of everybody, in front of the girl. He was beating me up all the time. And he was stronger than me. He was like 3-4 years older than me. And he was tall and strong guy. He's a hockey player back in the day. And yeah, I couldn't beat him. Even with martial art, he was always stronger than me. He hurt me a lot, like back in the day. And I grew up with a lot of anger. And there were two persons I was afraid growing up. It was my dad. My dad was very severe, very strict with me. And I'm glad he was, because I could have become very bad. I could have become chosen on a different path.
That kind of fear rewires a child. It teaches awareness. It sharpens instinct. While other kids focused on lessons, George focused on escape. His mind trained itself to anticipate danger, to read people, to stay one step ahead. At 7 years old, his father introduced him to karate, Kyokushin, but karate didn't make the bullying stop.
And I wish I would tell you that I got out of bullying because a Hollywood story, I used martial art to beat up all the bullies. But it's not how it happened to me. It happened because I changed myself from the inside out. And I learned how to, because I didn't love myself in the beginning, I learned how to become like someone that I have loved.
When George was 16, his karate instructor died. And with that loss, something shifted. Martial arts stopped being a hobby. It became a mission. He didn't chase dominance. He chased completeness. Outside the gym, life wasn't glamorous.
I was a garbage man. And I was also working in a nightclub as a security guard, a doorman. So Monday to Thursday, I was working for a company, garbage man. And during the weekend, I was working in a security of nightclub. It was a terrible job. It was like hip hop club. It was a lot of battle, a lot of fights.
Professional MMA came fast, and George didn't hesitate.
My first fight ever, I got paid $1,100 because my opponent did not make the weight. Otherwise, I would have probably made even less because I got 30% of his purse.
Fight after fight, he won. Not with chaos, but with clarity. His game didn't rely on one skill. It relied on connection. In 2004, the UFC noticed.
There was a guy. His name was Pete Spratt. He was a fighter, a very good striker. And at the time, Pete Spratt beat Robbie Lawler, who became later champion of the UFC. He beat him with leg kicks. He made him stop the fight with leg kick. Wow. And he was very fair, a very, very powerful striker. And my manager at the time brought Pete Spratt to fight me in TKO, and Pete Spratt didn't know who I was. I was a nobody at the time, and he probably thought that he was coming to collect an easy paycheck. And I beat Pete Spratt. I beat him with a rear naked choke, Adaka Jimmy, and that was my ticket for the UFC.
Las Vegas, UFC 46. Big lights, bigger expectations. His opponent was favored. George wasn't. It didn't matter. 3 rounds later, the decision was unanimous. Not just a win, a statement. Then came Jay Huron. 1 minute, 42 seconds. Technical knockout. The message was clear. This wasn't luck, this was design. George wasn't just beating people, he was removing their options. He wasn't the best striker, he wasn't the best grappler, he was the best thinker. And soon, there was only one place left to go, the title. Matt Hughes. For most of the fight, he held his own. He moved well, he competed, he belonged. Then, with 10 seconds left in the round, it ended. Armbar. Tap. The loss cut deep.
It was my 3rd fight in the UFC. And I was fighting this legend, Matt Hughes. It was like, for me, through my eyes, if you look at the stare downs against Matt Hughes in the beginning
You weren't even
of the
looking
fight,
at him, right? You were
I could
looking
not
up.
even
Yeah.
look at him in the eyes. I was looking up. I was like, man, it's impossible. I didn't even believe I could beat him. Like I didn't see myself beating him. Like I couldn't sleep the week before. There were no scenario in my head that I went through that I could beat him. I didn't know, so I took the fight. I was very, very scared. And I did a good fight, but he cut me with an armbar.
Yeah.
And it's after the fight, when I watched the fight, I sat down and I watched the fight, I realized, I was like, man, I could have beat him. And it taught me something. I should never put nobody on a pedestal. Everybody is a human being. We all need to drink, eat, go to the bathroom. We're all the same.
That loss became fuel. He went back to work, harder, smarter, more obsessed than ever. He didn't just improve skills, he improved discipline, focus, mental resilience. He learned that fear could sharpen you, but complacency would destroy you. Because from that moment on, George St-Pierre didn't chase greatness, he engineered it. After the loss to Matt Hughes, George St-Pierre didn't spiral, he sharpened. Fight by fight, he rebuilt himself. Jason Miller, Sean Shirk, different styles, same result. Control, precision, growth. By the time his name was called alongside BJ Penn, the air felt heavier. Penn was different. Explosive, creative, dangerous everywhere. Many believed this was the true test, and it was. Blood poured. George's nose broke. The fight was chaos wrapped in technique. But when it ended, George stood with his hand raised. Split decision. Championship implications. November 2006, UFC 65. Matt Hughes again. But this wasn't the same George. This version didn't just believe he could win. He knew how. The fight didn't linger. In the 2nd round, George found the opening. A strike, a collapse, a knockout that echoed through the division. The belt was his, UFC welterweight champion. The scared kid from Quebec now stood on top of the world's most unforgiving weight class. Cameras flashed, applause roared, history was made. And then, it vanished. April 2007, a relatively unknown challenger, Matt Serra. One punch changed everything. The upset shocked the sport. The belt was gone. George stood frozen, devastated, publicly humbled. This loss was different. It wasn't tactical. It was psychological.
And Matt Serra is the only fight that I slept well.
You slept like a baby?
I slept like a baby and I got knocked out.
That's
so
crazy.
that's not a good thing. So the fight with Matt Serra taught me that I should never underestimate nobody, because you're always at one mistake. No matter how good you are, how good people tell you you're always at one mistake to lose everything. And I've learned that. And since then, every fight that I took, I was scared. And that fear helped me to perform better, because I used that to be sharper, to increase my reaction time, to put more into my training, because I was afraid to not be ready as much as I could, the fear helped me to be more explosive, so I like to be afraid. I think now I learn to appreciate it in a way that I know if I'm not afraid, is something wrong. When I lost to Matt Serra, I was obsessed of revenge. I wanted to get my revenge right away. However, I couldn't, because Matt Serra became the champion, and there was other guys in line before me to get a title shot. But the only thing that I could think of was Matt Serra. I was obsessed. I'm obsessive compulsive. Like,
You had his face on a dartboard.
Oh, like crazy. I was so angry at myself. I knew I was better than this. I wanted to prove to the world. So one of the sport psychologists, Brian Kane, he made me take a brick and wrote the name Sarah on it. And he said, George, it was a big brick. He said, George, you're carrying too many bricks. Now you have another fight scheduled against Josh Koscheck. You need to focus on the immediate task. You can't focus on Sarah because you're not focusing on the right thing. It's not good. It's very dangerous. I was like, yeah. So he made me carry a freaking brick in my training bag. And when I go to TriStar to train, I had to go up the stairs, and carrying that brick at one point, it was like, man, it's getting very annoying. Every day, like twice a day. And I was calling him. I said, hey, can I get rid of that freaking brick? He's like, no, you keep it. Until the point I couldn't take it anymore. I was like, hey, listen, Brian, I want to get rid of that fucking brick. It's bothering me. He's like, okay. So what I did is he made me go to the Saint Laurent River with the brick, with the name of Sarah on it. And he made me throw the brick in the Saint Laurent River. I know it sounds stupid, but it was an action that I did that had profound effect on my mind. And when I did this, it kind of releases me. I was like, now I'm ready to fight Josh Koscheck.
When he returned, he looked different, sharper, meaner, more composed. Josh Koscheck fell, then Matt Hughes again. This time it was surgical, armbar, submission, no debate. At UFC 83, George faced Matt Serra once more, and this time there was no chaos, only dominance, relentless pressure, calculated punishment. The referee stopped it. The belt came home. George St-Pierre had avenged both losses, and in doing so, removed doubt entirely. From that night forward, he wasn't just champion, he was inevitable.
What followed wasn't a reign, it was an era. John Fitch, BJ Penn again, Thiago Alves, Dan Hardy, Koscheck, Shields, Condit, Diaz. Different names, same outcome. George didn't overwhelm opponents, he suffocated them. Opponents didn't lose because they were worse. They lost because they were trapped inside a system. But systems, no matter how perfect, are tested. And in 2013, that test arrived. Hendricks was different. Southpaw, explosive, strong enough to resist the clinch, dangerous enough to punish hesitation. For the first time in years, George looked human. He was dropped, pressured, pushed to the edge. The decision went his way, but the debate never ended.
Yeah, I'm blown away that George St-Pierre won that fight. And listen, I'm a promoter. He's the biggest pay-per-view star on the planet for me, and I still don't think he won that fight.
George St-Pierre did the unthinkable. He walked away. Before we continue the documentary, if you have made it this far, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. The like aim for this video is 100 likes, so be sure to smash that like goal. Now, let's continue the documentary. UFC 217, New York City. George St-Pierre walked back into the Octagon not as a welterweight king, but as a challenger, a man chasing a belt he'd never worn, middleweight. Across from him stood Michael Bisping, loud, proud, unimpressed. The buildup was hostile.
And I want to make
No one gives a fuck. No one gives a fuck, George. Everybody, I'm sorry I'm late. Dana, my apologies. George, my apologies.
Everybody gives a fuck that you're late.
No, you won't.
You're talking about being a fucking welterweight. You are a welterweight, okay? I'm a middleweight. I can't wait to fucking square up against you. Stand up. Stand up and look at the size of me and look at the size of you. Go back to fucking Canada.
That's all you have on me. That's all you have.
No, it's not. I've got a lot more than that, pal.
Skill, fighting IQ, athleticism.
Here's the guy.
Tools.
Here's
Everything
the guy.
is on my side.
Oh, is it really? Height, reach, good looks, fucking accent, the jab, the punch, the kick, everything. George, listen, while you were away, because you were so scared of everybody taking steroids, I was man enough to still be fighting those guys. You went away, you went and fucking chased aliens. I don't know what you did. No one gives a fuck where you were or what you did. You're coming back, the sport is a different place, game over.
Behind the scenes, his body rebelled. Weight gain went wrong. Severe stomach pain, vomiting blood. A warning sign no fighter wants. But George didn't pull out because this wasn't about comfort. It was about closure. The fight was tense, tactical. Bisping resisted every takedown, forced exchanges, tested the system. And once again, George adapted. A left hook changed everything. A rear naked choke sealed it. Champion. 2 divisions. History made. But the victory came at a cost. After the fight, the truth surfaced. Ulcerative colitis, a chronic condition. Genetic, worsened by stress.
What did you have? You had colitis?
Yeah, colitis. Yeah.
What is that? What causes that?
We don't really know what it caused it, but the best theory is that before my last fight with Michael Bisping, I tried to put on extra weight. So I followed a diet program that I was eating almost every 2 hours. And I think your system is like a car. If you do a lot of mileage, it overuse it. So that's what happened with the stress and everything. During my training camp, I had big problem. I couldn't sleep. I had crazy cramps, sometimes. And I had blood. Even when I went to the bathroom, at one point I had to go do some tests because I was worried that it was something more, colitis is very serious, but that it was like cancer or something because I had blood. So I did some tests, it came out negative, and I said to myself, this fight being not delayed, but postponed so many times that if I do something, if I say that publicly, what is going on, I'm going to lose the opportunity to fight for the title at 185. So I keep it shut. And I told myself, I said, whatever it is, I'll deal with it after the fight. So I did the fight, everything went well. Then after I went to do, it's called a colonoscopy. They put a camera inside of you.
Yeah.
And I got diagnosed with ulcerative colitis. That's probably the mix of the stress and also the fact that I was
constantly eating.
I was eating, and not only eating, Joe, I was trying to put on some weight. It was very hard. Sometimes I remember many times I was having breakfast, but I was regurgitating my breakfast. Like chewing up.
Because you were just eating too much food.
Yeah, but I had to because I needed to keep myself in a certain weight. The reason why I relinquished the belt is I went to do some physical tests to see what is the problem with my health condition, because during the camp I knew I had problem, but I didn't know what it was. I knew it was, the test, the blood test and everything for the cancer, it came negative. So after I went to do like I said, a colonoscopy, it came back that I have an ulcer inside my stomach. Then as a doctor, I say, how long it takes to get rid of this? I say, it's all your life. But the symptom can go up, down, depending every people, whatever they do differently. In the sport of MMA, a lot of the guys are starving. They're not rich, However, when I'm looking at the landscape, I see a lot of guys, like for example, Conor McGregor. He hold on to the title for the attention, the sponsors, the this and that. And a lot of people do that. They kind of stole the division. And I said to myself, I stand for the fighters. I always did, publicly. I said, well, I'm gonna keep the title until to see if I feel better or not and defend it, because I don't even know if my weight was dropping down. It's like I'm not even a 185. I'm more a 170 or 155ers. I don't have the size of a 185ers. So I'm like, I relinquished it right away. I don't want to stall the division and make people wait because of me. The world don't go around me. You know what I mean? So for the respect, I did it.
That's
but
beautiful.
I didn't know before the fight I was going to do this. It happened like this. People was like, oh yeah, no, I didn't know it was going. I didn't know I was going to have a colitis and all that stuff. It came up. I never tried it before. I didn't know what would be the outcome, how I would feel. I never did it. It was a test and the same time, but I didn't know. I have a lot of. I'm not a perfect man, Joe. I have a lot of negative stuff about me. But one thing that I'm not is I'm not a coward. This I swear. If I say I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do. I'm not a coward.
He left on a 13-fight win streak, never beaten in his prime, never truly figured out. Hall of Fame followed, applause, praise, legacy cemented. But what George left behind mattered more than belts. He changed how fighters fought. Systems, cohesion, strategy. The blueprint of modern MMA carries his fingerprints. He wasn't loud. He wasn't reckless. He was precise. At the core of it all, George St-Pierre was never chasing greatness. He was escaping fear. A bullied child became the most complete fighter the sport has ever seen. Not by anger, not by ego, but by work, by discipline, by humility, by understanding himself. The throne never changed him. It revealed him. And that is why George St-Pierre will always stand apart, not just as a champion, but as the quiet architect of greatness. If you made it this far, be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel for more MMA videos and documentaries, and tell me your thoughts in the comments below.